Hey friends, welcome back to Simply a Better You. Today we are in the kitchen and we will be canning pineapple zucchini. So if you have a garden and you're growing squash and you are just overrun with squash, and I'm pretty sure you know what I mean, two plants can produce an abundance of squash. And not only that, you're trying to get out there every day and harvest your vegetables. But every once in a while, they get away from you. So with zucchini, I swear, if you blink just twice, they're huge. You're thinking, I'm just going to leave that on the plant for just a little bit longer, or I'll harvest it this evening. And then you go back out and they're twice the size of what they were. Now, once they start to get a little bigger, they're not as tender and they do get some rather large seeds. But you can still eat them. You can still use them. There's lots of different recipes that you can use your zucchini for, especially if you're cooking it. It softens up as you cook it, so I've really never run into a problem with using large zucchini. But I have run into this problem. I am pretty much sick of zucchini squash and zucchini boats and just sauteed zucchini and making all the different recipes with the zucchini. And I'm like, I just want to be done with these zucchinis. So I have probably about 6 of these and I have more to harvest this evening. So I need to use these up, but I don't want to eat them right away. So what am I going to do with them? You can chop these up and freeze them. They freeze really well, especially if you're going to use them in casseroles later or to saute them. But I'm going to try something a little different. I have heard about pineapple zucchini, where you are canning zucchini inside pineapple juice. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to give that a try. I love pineapple. My girls love pineapple. So let's try this out. So today I'm going to share with you a recipe that I got from Homesteading with the Zimmermans. And I am going to try this recipe right now with you guys. So let's dive in and start cutting up our zucchini and get it in the jars and start canning. So when you are starting water bath canning, get your pot on the stove and get it going. It does take a little while for it to heat up. Now I will be doing these at room temperature. Some people might refer to it as cold packing, but everything is going to be room temperature. So I've got my water in my canner. I've got my rack in here. I've got clean jars. Basically, you can do it however you would like. Some people like to put them inside the canner of water while it's boiling to sterilize them. I wash these in hot soapy water, and if you have a dishwasher, you can put it on a rinse cycle and it will sterilize your jars as well. So I've got my jars out, I've got my zucchini ready, everything's washed and sterilized, and I have my water bath canner back here. I have not turned it on yet. I'm not going to turn it on and get it heated up until I have my jars packed. So let's get in here. Now with this particular zucchini, I'm going to go ahead and peel it. I have heard and read that you don't have to peel it, but I just feel like if I left the green on, that it might not hold that yellow color that we would like it to, because I really do want this to kind of resemble zucchini. I think the kids will, it'll be a little bit more appealing to the kids. Because you know, I'm going to tell them that this is pineapple to get them to eat it first. So I'm using a vegetable peeler, nothing fancy. We'll get these all peeled up, and then I am going to cut them in half, clean the seeds out depending on the seed size, and then probably cut them into about 1-inch cubes. Get all this off here. Come here. There we go. I mean, it's going to be green no matter what, but we'll get some of this stuff off. All right. Now you guys can throw your zucchini skins in your compost, feed them to your chickens if you have chickens. I think they would really like them. I know mine do. I haven't experienced the guilt of throwing away vegetable pieces. So the skins, the ends and the bottoms, the seeds, I've been giving everything to the chickens. So I feel really good about harvesting vegetables this year, especially when I don't get to them, you know, quick enough and they've started to go bad, or my yellow squash that I have out there, it turns orange and it gets really hard. I can feed that to the chickens. All right, so this one, and this will be totally up to you. Let me get a spoon, I'll show you the seeds. I don't mind the seeds, but I don't know how the girls, yeah, these are not bad at all. So sometimes you can get some really large seeds. These don't appear to be large, so I'm gonna just leave it as it is and cut it up. But you can clear out the center, just get you a spoon, and you're kind of scooping it out like you would a pumpkin if you were de-seeding a pumpkin. I'll go ahead and do one for you guys. These seeds don't seem to be too bad. I've been trying lots of different zucchini recipes. We have done our standard zucchini boats, which if I can find the video, I'll link it up here in the corner for you for my zucchini boats. And then you can also do zucchini enchiladas and zucchini muffins. There's chocolate chip zucchini oatmeal, zucchini bread. So many different zucchini recipes. You can do zucchini frittatas and oh, what is it? Zucchini, I'm trying to think, fritters. Those are great for breakfast. And if you just happen to be grain free, you can use coconut flour or like a tapioca starch or something in place of flour or breading. So we're going to cube these up. Now as I am, usually I do like a big bowl of something when I'm dicing stuff up, but I'm going to go a little bit smaller. So maybe we'll go 1/2 inch on these. This just seems a little big. I'll make sure that in the description below that I link to the YouTuber's page that I got this recipe from. She's got a video, and then she always puts the directions in the recipe in a like Dropbox link that you can go to and follow her recipe. All right, so I'll give you an idea here of how big I am chopping these. I thought I was going to go about 1 inch to 2 inches. I didn't like the size, so we're going to go about this size, bite size, almost like if you were chopping up apples. And I'm going to pack these tight, so make sure as you're putting things in, just push them down. And when you get your liquid in there and start to debubble, you're going to want to push your zucchini down some more. This will be officially, is this my 4th year canning? Yes, this is my 4th year canning. Wow. And I feel like I still don't know it all. I'm still learning new things. But one thing I have learned is canning takes concentration. I always forget to debubble my jars, or to wipe off my rims because I get into such a hurry. So, and I have also learned that when I take on a canning project, I expect it to take at least half my day or my entire day, especially depending on what I am canning. Tomatoes, I feel like that's an all-day project because good morning, Sweet Pea. I peel and de-seed them. Last year, I didn't do it. I've never had a problem with tomato seeds. And when I canned the tomatoes that I canned, the seeds, there was just too many, and I didn't like what it did to my sauces, and I was constantly straining them out, and then I was losing the juice that I had canned the tomatoes with. And so this year I peeled, de-seeded, and diced them up. All right, so I've started out with 5 jars. I have 2 regular mouth jars off to the side. It doesn't change anything for the timing of the water bathing. I just prefer wide mouth over the regular. I think that's just a preference thing. But those are kind of like my backup jars if I've got some extra. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put the sugar and the lemon in. So any type of lemon juice you want to grab. The sugar is not necessary, so if you don't want to add the 2 tablespoons of sugar into it, you don't have to. I'm only going to put 1 tablespoon of sugar and then 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. I'm hoping I have enough. I've used up most of my lemon juice and canning tomatoes. I want to get a different, I think I might take that little thing out of the top. It always shoots my lemon juice across the counter. All right, sugar. My sugar's over here. I am using a raw cane sugar. You can use whatever sugar you want. When I did my peaches, I canned them in honey because I really just didn't like the idea of putting sugar in it. I don't know what made me just stop and say, no, put honey in this. And so I canned it in honey. I've got 1 jar that came up a little short, so I'm not going to put as much in it. But I didn't want to chop up another zucchini and have half a zucchini. Okay. All right. Get whatever pineapple juice you would like to use. And we are going to fill it up to 1-inch headspace. This one, I am going to fill up to the 1-inch headspace, even though it's not completely full. You want a full jar. Also, if you have never canned before, or when you can, you just feel extremely messy, just know canning is messy. I have never not been able to make a mess. I spill things, things pop off, I drop things. I mean, canning is just, it's a messy business. All right. A little bit more in that one. We're good. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, generally the rim of the jar is 1-inch headspace. If your jars are different, you can also pick up one of these handy dandy sticks. It has the measurements down here on the end, and you can place it in your jar and it will tell you the headspace. Yeah. But honestly, I eyeball it. I think you'll find after you've been canning for a little while that you might bend a little bit, or you're just doing things over and over again and you have a better idea of where this headspace is. It's raising here. I'm gonna push these back. Yes, my hands are clean. That stuff push back down in there. I feel like I could get some more in these jars. Did I do you? Don't remember. Yeah, kind of push down. I really want to pack as much product in them as I possibly can, so I'm not really wasting space. Like this is, I mean, technically it's kind of a waste, but I can use the juice in whatever recipe I'm using the zucchini for. All right, now grab yourself some apple cider vinegar, paper towel or clean rag, and we're gonna wipe the rims off. This is to ensure a good seal. We're removing any kind of debris that's on the end of these jars, the top of the rims. So any stickiness. Did I do you already? Just give them a nice good wipe. And we're gonna get our lids ready. Okay, so you have two different kinds of lids. You have a wide mouth lid and then a regular mouth lid. And they have little gaskets on them. You can either soak these in some hot water, do not put them in a boiling pot of water, or you can just put them on your lids or put them on your cans. I just pop mine on my cans. I've done it both ways. I have only ever had one jar not seal, and I think that was my fault because I didn't wipe the rims. So sometimes it just happens. So we're going to put these on here. You will have two different types, sizes of rings. One regular, one wide. And you're going to pop these on here. And this is the hard part. This is the hard part to describe. I'm bringing you in here a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. This is fingertip tight. I put it on, I turn it, I just use 2 fingers to turn it, and then you're going to turn it one more time, just a little, and you'll feel it lock. But it is very important that you do not crank this down super tight. It will cause your lids to buckle. This is why Joe no longer cans or tightens any of the lids. He's stronger than he realizes. We had a whole batch of pickles that we had to double can because all the lids buckled. And when we canned it again, so we processed it twice, they were so soggy and gross. I ended up using all of it for the juice and the pickles for marinade because they just weren't edible. So once this process is done, you can start putting these in your canner. And you will need to have a canner rack. I like the rack, or you can get a plate to sit down at the bottom of your canner so that your glass jars are not touching the metal bottom of the canner. Okay, very important. So we got these in here. I'm kind of making my process a little bit longer. I have a little station set up, and this is the way you want to go. You want a station set up. You want something that has your towel to catch all the stuff that you're going to spill. because it's going to happen. Your vinegar, your canning lids, your rings, spoons, knives, bowls, the little jar clamper thingy, lifter, jar lifter, yeah, the technical name. All of your stuff, and I usually do it by the sink because then I can just remove things and start dumping them in the sink. Or if my jars are sitting in the sink sterilizing, I can remove them and start my process and work that way. So having a little station up here, it is helpful. It's very helpful. I need one more lid. All right, so we got our lids and we are popping these in the canner. I had this on and I turned it off because it was getting too hot. You do not want to take things that are cold and put them into a hot water bath canner because your jars will more than likely explode, shatter, break, you know, that whole cold and hot temperature difference could be bad. Luck is on my side today. I canned enough for it to fill the whole canner, which is great. Usually I either have one more or one less. It ends up going in the fridge. But this is already warmed up, so I'm going to go ahead and drop these in here before this gets to a hard boil. And make sure that you space your jars out so they're not banging into each other. And here's where we will get to the controversial part. What I'm going to tell you to do is follow a USDA safe canning process, okay? What I have found is that when you can and you allow the water to cover the lids of the jars, things happen that I don't particularly like. A lot of siphoning happens, and it just, I wasn't happy with it. So I was doing some research, and the way the Amish can and the way the older generation was canning is they were not covering the tops of their jars or their lids. So I fill my water to the top of where the product sits in the jar, if that makes sense. So right below the ring, and that's how I can. But like I said, do as I say, don't do as I'm doing. Follow a USDA recipe for canning so that ensures that you're safe in your home and what you're comfortable with. Okay, I feel comfortable doing this for my family. We haven't had any problems. And plus, I have always said, anytime you open a jar, use your eyes, use your nose. If it doesn't look right and it doesn't smell right, it's not right. So throw it out. All right, so we're gonna let this come to a boil, and then we're gonna go ahead and cover it, and we are going to can it for 25 minutes. And while that is doing its thing, I'm gonna clean up my mess. Okay, just like I prepped my area for, you know, working and getting things into the canner, I'm also going to prep my area for when I pull things out of the canner. So grab yourself a towel, fold it in half, place it on a counter somewhere that you can sit your jars where they're not going to be moved for at least 24 hours. So that's usually this corner over here. Okay, so the zucchini is done, and we're going to go ahead and take these out. Now, when your timer goes off, I let my canner sit for like 10 minutes. You can take the lid off. Just make sure you take the lid off away from your face, and just let it sit for about 10 minutes, kind of let things calm down in there, and then I go ahead and pull out. what I have canned. Make sure that you're not tipping your jars or jostling them around too much. You will notice that some of the rings are loose on top. That does not mean that your jar didn't seal. So avoid from playing around with the ring and playing around with the jar. You're just going to pull these out and you're going to let them sit for 24 hours. While these are sitting, you will probably hear that beautiful ping that we all wait for. That's what you want to hear. It sounds like a little pop, kind of like when you open a jar of spaghetti sauce and you hear the air release. You are listening for the little pop of the jar lid. If they haven't already, because sometimes they pop, you get the little ping while they're still in the canner. So I am looking across the top of my jars right now, and I can actually see that all of the jar lids have already caved in, or so I can see that the little part in the center that's pushed up, I don't know if you guys can hear this. So there's a little part in the center that is pushed up, and when you've canned correctly and it seals, it pops down. That's the noise that you're hearing. But you can usually look over the top of your lid and see that it has collapsed inwards and has sealed. So all of those have done that, so I probably won't hear anything go ping ping, but I'm still going to leave them alone, and I'm going to let them sit for 24 hours, and then I will take the rings off and move the jars later. So I'm sure if you grow a garden or you're receiving vegetables from a garden friend, you don't want your produce to go to waste. So I really encourage you, find a way to use it. Find a way to get it into a shelf-stable form and put it up for later if you are just all zucchinied out. Because I'm zucchinied out and I'm definitely squashed out right now. I mean, this is like my 4th plate of squash casserole, which I absolutely love. And I'll put a link for the squash casserole up here in the corner, but I just can't eat any more of this. I'm done with squash for the summer, and this usually happens. Same thing, cucumbers. My fridge is packed with cucumbers, and I'm getting ready to juice some up here in a minute, but halfway through the summer, I'm like, I'm done. I never want to see another zucchini, squash, or cucumber again until the next season. So guys, thank you so much for joining me on my journey today and in my kitchen. And as always, guys, I bless you on your journeys.